Back studio in New York City. Here is Steve Malzberg.
I was there in Miami when Coach Dungy secured his place in history. I'm very proud of him. He's a wonderful human being, but this is one of his low moments. This is the attempt to justify prejudice and bigotry under the rubric of having questions about distractions. You mean you coach in the NFL, you're associated with an NFL that has people who are criminals, people who have committed murder, people who have committed manslaughter, people who have committed domestic violence, people who have murdered dogs and the like, and yet this is a distraction that is singular that would warrant you not drafting this young man and providing him an opportunity.
All right, folks, I got to tell you, welcome back to the show. Michael Eric Dyson is way, way, way off base here. Tony Dungy, I'm sure, due to his Christian faith, believes, and he sat here in the studio with his wife, believes in the sanctity of marriage, that marriage is between one man and one woman, okay? Michael Sam, from day one, took a calculated step. That calculation was he would clean up a fortune and he would announce that he was gay. And then he went and he signed a deal with Oprah's TV network, and he was reportedly going to come to camp, to training camp, with a camera crew to tape a reality show. But yet every time Michael Sam opens his mouth, it's, I don't want to be known as the gay football player. Baloney. You only want to be known as the gay football player. You've done everything to try to be known as the gay football player. Your marketing strategy is to be known as the gay football player. And Tony Dungy makes a valid point. Of course it's going to be a distraction because reporters are going to ask every player, so what do you think? And where do you stand on gay marriage? And what do you think? And blah, 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 blah. It's different. It's not open and shut like, when somebody tortures dogs and goes to jail for it and comes back. Who's going to say, oh, yeah, it wasn't so bad he tortured dogs? No, everybody's going to agree what he did was bad. This is a different kind of story. Here's more from Dyson.
It reminds me of those, kind of light racist viewpoints that were promoted by many white people who were not in the Ku Klux Klan, but yet and still they resisted the progress of African American people by undermining it.
Okay. Shame on him because Tony Dungy has done and accomplished too much in the NFL and as a black coach. To undergo the scrutiny and the rudeness and these analogies, these racist analogies by Michael Eric Dyson, who unfortunately has more to say.
He's willing to speak out about race. That's the hypocrisy here. He's willing to talk about Charlie Ward. He's willing to talk about issues related to African-American people, but he's not willing to speak up for another black man, Michael Sam, who happens to be gay at the same time. So the point is there's a competition between his blackness here and his being gay and his own beliefs. I think his conservative religious beliefs, which he is certainly, has the right to express. But when you keep saying he's brave, just because you're Bull Connor was brave, a lot of white racists were brave when they spoke up. I'm not suggesting there's a relationship between Bull Connor and Tony Dungy. I'm simply saying this. Just because Tony Dungy speaks his mind doesn't mean what comes out of his mouth is correct, and it doesn't mean that he shouldn't be challenged.
I'm not saying there's a relationship between Bull Connor and Tony Dungy. If someone says Obama, Hitler did the same thing. I'm not suggesting there's a connection between Obama and Hitler. No. Well, why do you think you said Bull Connor and Tony Dungy in the same breath, making that analogy, only to say, oh, I'm not suggesting? Yes, you were, in my view, suggesting exactly that. And Michael Eric Dyson should be ashamed of himself, but I know better to expect than to expect Michael Eric Dyson to to be ashamed of himself. Tony Dungy does have the right to say what he believes and to believe what he believes and not to be raked over the coals and called a racist for it on the Steve Malzberg Show. Oh. Okay.
August 16th, 1977 is a date forever remembered by music lovers throughout the world as the day the King died. Born a twin on January 8th, 1935 in Tupelo, Mississippi, Elvis Aaron Presley's twin brother Jesse died at birth, leaving the future entertainment legend to grow up a single child. After making his first recording at age 19 for Sun Records, 1 year later, RCA bought his contract, and within 2 years, Elvis Presley emerged as an international recording sensation. But at age 22, young Elvis was drafted into the Army. He declined special service status and trained alongside regular soldiers at Fort Hood before joining the Army's 3rd Armored Division in Germany. After 2 years of service and meeting his wife Priscilla, Sergeant Elvis Presley returned to civilian life and went on to star in 33 films and break records for his television specials and appearances. But concerts were always his first love.
It's my favorite part of the business, is a live concert.
80,000 people lined the streets as a parade of white limousines made their way to Graceland to pay their final respects. Today, Graceland remains the 2nd most visited home in America after the White House. You're watching An American Moment.